All right, everybody, welcome into the 360 Sports Show. I am Andrew Pezzelli, joined by Christian Lawber. We want to apologize for the bit of the delay for this this latest episode. We had our first setback with any new venture. There's bound to be ups, there's going to be downs, and we ran into our first set of technical difficulties with a MacBook freezing up and losing an entire episode. So we're going to do our best to give you that same episode back, if possible. We had some great content, and fittingly, though, this kind of works out the timing because what we're going to get into today is going to be directly impacted tomorrow. So some exclusive content here on the 360 Sports Show. Format for the show is we lead with the biggest sports stories of the week. We're not just exclusive to the New England area or to North America. One of the biggest stories of the last 2 weeks now is going to be something from European soccer, football. So we're really driven by your questions as well. We have a couple of great ones here for later on in the show. If you want to send us your questions, you can email the 360sportshow@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at 360 Sports Show, and give us a like, give us a follow there. We're doing tons on social media, a lot of engagement. We want to get that up, and we're starting to appear live at some places. Tomorrow night, the 360 Sports Show will be live and in person at the Ryan Center in Kingston, Rhode Island, to see a big college hoops matchup between URI and Dayton, and we're going to get into that to close out the show before we get to your questions. But, Christian, I think what we led with last time, what I want to lead with this time, we have a little bit of perspective now on it, is the NHL Trade Deadline. So if you could give maybe a little bit of a recap of some of the headline moves around the league, and then we can get into the Bruins' impact of the NHL Trade Deadline.
Yeah, I mean, you can go right off the top. A lot of teams got better, and a lot of teams around the Bruins got better. Washington, Tampa, all these teams got better, and so did the Bruins, I think. You know, I was going to say this kind of worked out well because now we have some time to digest all these moves. And Tampa seems to be skidding a bit, but I'm not too worried about them. They're better, and Stamkos just went down, actually, but just in terms of the trade deadline, everyone got better. And after seeing, you know, I'll delve more into the Bruins on Kasha and Richie. Cassidy's kind of finagling the lines a little bit, but after seeing a few games, I kind of like both of them so far. You know, I think they needed more raw size from Richie. He's kind of given them that impact and a net front presence. And Kasha is good on the puck, and he's also good in both ends, which I didn't, you know, I knew he had some skill offensively, but defensively he's been good. And the Boston Bruins are atop the league right now. So is it the curse of the President's Trophy? I don't know, but the playoffs, make no mistake, is not going to be easy, especially with all these teams making moves and everybody getting better, especially in the East, but also, you know, out west, the Blues, just most notably.
Yeah. We had some time now to reflect back on these moves and analyze them. At the time, one of the moves we thought the Bruins were going to make was for Tyler Toffoli. He ends up going to the Canucks.
The rip in the pocket.
And then the Bruins play the Canucks and get absolutely just shillelied. And at the time, I think people were second guessing, like, oh God, this is what, and he had a great game. Like, oh, this is what could have been. Do you regret not making the Toffoli move? Do you feel like what the Canucks, you know, would it have been an overpay? Because some of these guys that did or didn't move, the asking prices were pretty high.
Yeah, a lot of the especially like Palmieri. I wanted the Bruins to kind of go after Palmieri, but my guess is that price was insanely high just based on the others around the NHL, and like J.G. Pajot going for like a first and all kinds of moves that went. But Toffoli, I'm okay with it just because like Kasha is kind of similar in he's a little bit younger and he has some injury history, but they're kind of similar in what they're going to do. But Toffoli has been pretty good for Vancouver. So I would have liked to see the Bruins go after Toffoli, but if that meant you're not going to get two players instead of one or whatever they want, they're trying to clear cap space as well. So I'm okay with it. I think Toffoli would have been nice in this system, but if you could get two players, clear some space, I'm okay with what they did overall.
Especially they were able to get rid of David Backes and his contract.
Yeah.
And what that does is the flexibility now they have this summer. Now, it's crazy when you look at the difference between NHL and like MLB contracts. We've been talking like all winter here about like Mookie Betts getting 12 years and $420 million. And so when you look and say, hey, the Bruins opened up like $1.7 million of cap space in the summer, you think like that's like nothing.
I think,
but in hockey terms, that's a lot of money. And re-signing a guy like Torrey Krug is going to be a major priority for this team this summer.
Yeah, and right now they have some other guys coming off the books too, but I think like $5.5 million, which is pretty good. And that back is unfortunately have to give up a first-round pick just to ditch that salary, but it's so worth it because, and the same thing happened with Patrick Marleau. Like the Leafs did the similar thing. So you have to get up that first-round pick to get rid of that salary, but it's so worth it for what you clear up. And also you got 2 young players that have tenure still.
Aside from the moves the Bruins made, and we feel like, you said other teams improved. Who maybe improved the most from this trade deadline?
One team, I don't know. I think everybody, there's a good balance between Washington and Tampa. Those are the teams that you have to watch out for. And I think all these teams, at least right now, it seems like everybody got better, but no one made a huge jump after the deadline so far. So Tampa's kind of lost a few games here, but once you get into the playoffs, it's a whole different game. So
yeah, the Lightning are 6-4 in their last 10. The Bruins are 7. The Bruins' pace is insane.
Yeah,
41, 13, and 12. That 12 is what's crazy. Like all those times they lost in overtime, the shootout losses,
12 points,
but they were still picking up points. Absolutely great. That's really the difference right now. Them and the Lightning both with 41 wins. The difference is the Bruins have 12 overtime losses to the Lightning's 5. So that's really and in the postseason, shootout don't matter. And overtime losses matter a ton.
Yeah.
So
that's one to watch out for. Yeah.
Those two teams are a lot closer than the standings would indicate. So, yeah, we'll see what happens come the postseason. I don't read too much into their matchup against the Lightning this week. I think both teams are going to play hard. Both teams want to win, but I don't think one team or the other is going to take away insane amounts of momentum out of that game because it's just a regular season game, and these two teams know they're going to see each other again down the line.
If you can't lose both of these games. I think they play tonight and then Saturday, so you can't lose both of them. And you also don't want to get it's kind of weird because you don't want the curse of the President's Trophy, but you'd also don't want to get jumped by Tampa and have to face
with
Toronto.
The lead you've had, you'd feel very bad. It wouldn't feel good. This team has not gone. They've had like a slump where they've had all those overtime losses, right? But for the most part, this Bruins team has been a wire-to-wire team.
Yeah.
And if they choose now to we don't want to be the 1 seed out of some weird just like Fakakta curse, that's not going to be good.
No, they're going to.
You would feel so much worse about this team if they slip down now out of that one spot.
I think they're gonna start resting some guys more, like maybe less ice time, but they're gonna go to the end to try to get that spot. You don't want to get Toronto and then have to go to Tampa, you don't want that road. So it'll be interesting. But if you want to say 1A, 1 Bruins, 1A Tampa, 1B Washington, that Eastern Conference is stacked.
Okay, so moving on from the NHL trade deadline, and as more time goes on, we can kind of analyze some of these moves. One last NHL tidbit that I wanted to touch on. Did you see the backup goaltender a couple of weeks ago?
Yes,
who made headlines. The emergency goaltender. One of the greatest things about hockey is that literally anybody you could just call a guy out from the snack room and call him into goal. My dad always tells a story. I can't remember. Bob Gladjo was a running back for the Patriots. This is back in the 70s or maybe the early 80s. When the team was just pitiful. Back when the stands would catch fire and that sort of stuff would happen. The Patriots were the Browns of the day, and the Browns were the Patriots of the day. Crazy. And the Patriots only had 2 healthy running backs on the roster, and they went into the game, and both of them got hurt in the first half. And Bob Gladjo, my dad said he saw him. He was at the game. He was just hanging out with buddies. He was a player who had gotten cut that week, but he was at the game. He was hanging out, just having a couple of beers, watching the game, and all of a sudden over the PA, would Bob Gladjo, if he is in the building, please report to the Patriots locker room. Please, Bob Gladjo to the Patriots locker room. At halftime. And lo and behold, this guy, he goes down, and my dad said second half, there he was. He was out in the field. He played in the second. That kind of thing could never happen today in the NFL with the way they monitor everything. If we're checking air pressure of footballs, there's no way that could happen. But in the NHL, that can happen. This guy was just hanging out. He's the Zamboni driver for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
For how long? That's the question.
What do you mean for how long?
They're going to get rid of it, I think. They're going to come up with some rule now to.
But what advantage does that gain? I mean, you're going to have some superior goaltender just waiting in the wings to be in your snack room? Why wouldn't you just sign that guy and play him?
You ask me, I don't care. I think it's kind of cool, but the backlash on it has been like, oh, we need a rule for this to not make this happen or let this happen.
No, let it happen. Just it doesn't need to be fixed. It's awesome.
It's going to be fixed. The NHL already, my guess would be the owners, GM, they're going to do something about it because for whatever reason, they didn't enjoy it.
David Ayers, that's this man's name. He's
Ayers.
42 years old. He's the oldest NHL goalie to get a win.
Yeah, he's undefeated
in his first appearance.
He might retire undefeated too.
He should. Just absolutely. What's crazy about it is that he was the Maple Leafs Zamboni driver, and he had to come in for the opposition.
Yeah, insane.
Like that's where I say maybe there has to be a rule, because what about a conflict of interest there? Like if this guy, I mean, you figure this guy, this is like the greatest moment of his life. He's not going to go out there just like let a whole bunch of pucks in because he's like, I'm a Leafs fan for life, baby. He went out and like played his heart out, because how often are you going to get to do that?
Oh, it's just awesome. Yeah.
But I think maybe that if you want to have a rule change, that's where you should have one where it's like maybe not have a guy who's like for the opponent team come in and be your goaltender, because maybe there could be some shenanigans.
Throwing some Swiss cheese in the net on purpose.
Yeah, just playing. Oh, he's 30 feet out of his crease. I don't know. Really out there to shut off the angle on that.
Trying to score. He goes up into the power play. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if there's anything, maybe that's where they make a change. But just a fantastic story. David Ayers, Zamboni driver for the Maple Leafs, comes in for the Carolina Hurricanes and gets the win. It's happened a couple of times before in the NHL, and it's always fantastic when you see it happen. So that was just our last little fun bit of the NHL talk. Other big story that happened in the interim here while we've been away from you all. We've missed you. We really missed you.
A lot.
You have no idea how angry me and Christian were last week. We sat here for
not great.
2 hours and looked at the computer and was like, why is that like that? Did none of that just stick? Oh my God.
R.I.P.
But and we have backups in place now. We have fail safes. Other than the next big story that happened here during that stretch, the Fury Wilder fight, I'd say lived up to the hype. I've said for forever, the way boxing gets back is you need the heavyweights. You don't need these guys, the lighter weight guys who just are going to dance around the ring. These Floyd Mayweathers who are just technically, sound boxers who are going to win on points and just not actually fight. You want to see the heavyweights just slugging it out, blow for blow. You want to see the body. How often do you see guys go down from body shots?
Just go on YouTube for this fight. Just go on YouTube and look up Wilder's face off of his face.
Oh yeah, that still image is ridiculous. It looks like something out of a cartoon.
Yeah.
It looks like in Space Jam where I think it's Bugs is like pulling one of the Monstars like skin off his skull.
It looks like he got stung by bees.
Oh yeah,
legitimately, like his face.
All
is
of
just,
the memes of his lips. Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, Tyson Fury just is an absolute maniac. Did you see the point where he was literally talking about tasting victory? He licked the blood coming out of Wilder's ear, like
Gross.
off his neck. How
Why would you ever do coronavirus? Why would you do that?
No, that's actually the cure. He was ahead of the curve.
Yeah, maybe that's
He's
true.
immunized now. He's the superhuman. But
Nothing
God,
like your opponent's blood to take victory out.
God.
It's just not good.
Oh man, I mean that dude he's a maniac. He's an absolute freaking maniac. But I love it. That is what the Wilder fired his ringside guy, his corner guy, because they threw in the towel because he just was not responding in that 7th round. He was getting pummeled, and you could see like Fury kind of took a step back, and that's when like they threw in the towel and the referee stopped it. Because if they didn't stop it, Fury was going to put the lights out. Like,
100%.
Like bad.
But the first few rounds were pretty close.
After the third round,
after the third round, he was seeing little Tweety Bird style, like birds around. Yeah, he was not with
Wilder was completely lost. And, I mean, I'm glad this fight had an actual decision, unlike their first fight, which ended in a draw, which was absolutely ridiculous. That's another thing. People, who try to get into boxing, then you see something like that happen, and it's like, okay, this is still,
go to the judges.
I guess this is still rigged, so we're going to step away. But a great fight, heavyweight fight. You want to see that. And already Wilder, the loser, was going to have a right to an immediate rematch, and that is set. It's going to be in July. Do you think anything's going to be different in the rematch, or will Fury just pummel Wilder again?
You know what, for me, it doesn't create as much buzz this time because I feel like he's just going to go in there and get the crap kicked out of him again. It's like I would have liked to see maybe like Joshua and Fury, and then maybe the winner takes on Wilder. But for that fight, I mean, just Vegas alone, it'll have some type of buzz. But I don't see that being enough time for Wilder to make any huge headway and win that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say maybe I'd give him time now because you can already. I give him a chance because you can mentally just already focus on the next fight. Don't even have to like let the impact of this one like soak in. You just kind of block it out and turn the page. And I'll give Wilder the benefit of the doubt for maybe underestimating Fury a bit and coming in a little too confident and maybe underprepared. I mean, he wore like that 50-pound like outfit to like come in.
But he was blaming that for his like please.
Blaming that, him going to blame that is that's just that's poor, right? Like, come on, like be better than that.
Did it help? No, but did it lose you the fight? Come on, buddy.
No, but those are the little types of things. Like I'm saying, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you prepare differently. Maybe there's more focus there.
Floyd Mayweather wants to train him. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he wants to train.
No, that's the last thing
Wilder.
we need. I don't want to see a technical fight next time. Just let these dudes, just old school style, just like in a bar fight. I just want to see a bar fight again.
Yeah. The fight.
There's
awesome.
no way Fury would stand for that. If Wilder starts kind of just dinking around and is just trying to like throw little jabs and like win on points, Fury will just lose his mind. Yeah. He'd just go after him. He'd like just see red. He'd go berserker mode and just start flinging his arms.
Maybe he just tackles him and starts
bites his ear off.
UFC style it.
Yeah. Bites his nose off. Something crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to watch. Well, and when I mean going to watch, I'm going to go to a casino. So I'm going to let somebody else pay for it.
Well, yeah.
and I'm going to watch.
But still watching. Still counts.
But still watching. Still counts. So I'm excited for that. I think if you can have another good fight, even if it's Fury just beating the snot out of Wilder, as long as it's like 6-7 rounds deep, I think that's good for the sport. I think boxing, talk about purity of sport. If you just go till like one guy gives up or gets knocked the F out, I mean, that's about as pure sport entertainment as you can get. That's why it was so big for so long. And then, when big money got involved and people started thinking that matches were fixed and all that sorts of other stuff.
I'm not going to lie, though. If I was Wilder, I think I would get the crap kicked out of me to make $25 million.
Oh, what these guys make, the purse is ridiculous.
Insane.
So, yeah, worth it to go stand in the ring and be a punching bag.
As long as I don't as long as I don't die in there, I'll take the $25 million.
Well, that's basically what you're doing. You're just training yourself to just become, be able to absorb those hits.
I mean,
at that weight.
If there's money per round, I think I'm just saying my corner, like throw in the white towel round one and get me out of here with my $10 million or whatever it is. I'd do that.
Yeah. So moving on from the Fury Wilder fight, big story from I'd say the wide world of sports. And we're kind of in our little North American bubble here. Not even North America. It's just the United States. We're locked in on football, baseball, hockey, and basketball. And, occasionally in the summer we pay attention to the Olympics or golf at the Masters or the Open, maybe some tennis here and there in the doldrums of July and August. But for the most part, Americans focus on those big four. Well, elsewhere in the world, soccer is the biggest thing going. And if you're a football fan, and you're paying attention, especially if you're an EPL guy, English Premier League fan, Manchester City was announced by UEFA has got a 2-year ban from Champions League, which, if for those of you that don't know, like European soccer is way different than like North American sports. North American sports, you have your regular season, you seed teams, you take a select few that make a playoff, and then those teams play, and then you crown a champion. over in Europe, you're kind of playing like 6 seasons, quote unquote, at once. You don't have playoffs. You have these cups and you have championships. So you have the English Premier League, which is the top league in England. And, you play just a season, and whoever is the top team at the end of the season has won the EPL. And every other country or a region has these leagues. And the top 4 leagues or 4 teams from the EPL make Champions League, which is the European mega. Think of it as like a mega tournament. That's their biggest tournament, because the winners, the top 4 teams in a couple of leagues, and then just one team alone from other major leagues in different countries make Champions League. It's incredibly important. Some teams don't even care about English EPL teams. They don't care if they don't win the EPL, but if they go win the Champions League, that's an accomplishment. And all these things happen throughout the course of the year. You're playing your league games. You're playing Champions League games. You're playing Europa League games. It's totally different from the way North American sports works. So what's happened is Man City is banned from the 2020, 2021, and the 2021 and 2022 seasons of Champions League because of just they violated fair play rules. Don't have to get too down and dirty with it, but they're hiding money on their books from money to pay players, and it's just a big no. And they knew this was coming down the pipe, and UEFA finally dished out their punishment. What's crazy about it is because, as I explained, the way you qualify for Champions League is happening right now. They're in their round of 16, which Man City is a part of, because they won the EPL last year, so you automatically qualify. It's based off of last season's results that you play this season's Champions League. So it does not matter that Man City is second in the EPL this year, and that's likely where they're going to finish. They're going to be banned. So for next year and the year after. So they could win the Champions League this year and then have to serve a 2-year ban, which I think is completely crazy. It would be a giant middle finger to UEFA if they were able to win Champions League and then be like, okay, well, we'll take a 2-year break now. So that's currently happening. This year is currently happening, and it's next year and the year after that they serve their ban. What it's also done now is the EPL, where the table has kind of been settled for the top 4. Now that team in the 5th spot will make Champions League for next season. There's a race now, and it's really the 5th through the 12th teams in the EPL now have a shot. I mean, as long as you're kind of within 6 points, that's usually where you want to draw the line, because you get 3 points for a win. But even the teams in 12th right now have a chance to move up. So all of a sudden there's this chaos for who can maybe finish 5th in the EPL, which is just great. I think that's where European sports have it over American sports, is because there's more on the line throughout the season, the regular, the quote unquote regular season in your league. And one of the greatest things they have, and this is where Christian, I want to get your thoughts on, if we could somehow apply this to North American sports. European soccer has relegation. EPL is the top league. If you finish in the bottom 3, you get demoted down to Champions League, not the Champions tournament, but their next tier. And if you finish in the top 3 of that, you get promoted. So year after year, sometimes you have teams flipping back and forth, and you can just tumble. There's teams that have gone from the EPL all the way down to League 1, and there's even leagues below that. I mean, at some point you get to just it's a bunch of drunkards who are just can't let go of their glory days. You've been relegated all the way down to there. Is it just that North American sports, the money and the system is just too set? But I feel like some of these teams, it would never happen in the NFL, but the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, the way, they basically have farm systems already set up. If Americans could wrap their heads around it, I think it would be really good for the sport, because now, late in seasons, those games matter. You don't want to finish in last or second or third from last. And games between bad teams have meaning and are worth watching because of the possibility of relegation.
I don't think it'll work in any sport here other than maybe the NBA, because I think, I don't know, MLB, NHL, like the competition is so different. Whereas like those soccer clubs are, I would say, all pretty close, at least near the bottom. Here, I don't see it. I think the NBA, maybe to prevent tanking, that would be an interesting idea.
That's really what I want to get rid of is the teams or the teams that like look at baseball teams that just can suck, not even put a competitive team on the field. They don't even have to fill their stadium, but because of revenue sharing, hey, they make their money and they make a profit. That's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. It will never happen probably, but the NBA would like to see something. I don't know. They have to fix the tanking thing because I don't know. Now you have a situation where the Warriors, right? They're not tanking per se, but like they're going to get like a top pick here, top 10 pick, and they already have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson coming back. But even teams that like, just sit down there every year and stockpile picks, no repercussions, no nothing. It's like, we suck again. We're going to get the best player. So something like that would be interesting if you threw that into the NBA where, hey, you're the last team, you're out. See you later for a year, and then you can earn your way back in. But it's not
the main Red Claws get elevated to the NBA
squad because Danny Ainge doesn't want to trade his draft picks, but that's a different topic. But I think I just don't see it happening over here. I think it definitely creates more competition, more excitement at the bottom of the standings. But I just don't see it really making its way over this way. Not for a while, anyway.
So like right now in the EPL, Man United is in the 5th spot. They're 3 points behind Chelsea, who isn't clear of making Champions League. Liverpool is running away. Liverpool is having one of the greatest seasons ever in EPL history. They did lose this past weekend, which was an upset to Watford. Huge upset. Lost them the chance to be the only one of just 2 teams to go undefeated or unbeaten in the EPL. The only other team to do that was Arsenal back in 2003, 2004. So Liverpool now with 1 loss in Premier League play, but they're running away with it. Man City, doesn't matter. They're in 2nd, but as far as Champions League is concerned, they're not. They're just going to be invisible. So you got Leicester City, then Chelsea. Man United is at 42 points. Wolves is right behind them at 42, and then everybody's bunched up. Tottenham 40, Sheffield United 40, Burnley FC 38, Arsenal 37. Now you're kind of on the fringe, but even like Everton, Crystal Palace 36 points. If you can string together some wins and some of these teams ahead of you go on a losing streak, there's 10 games left in the EPL schedule. Pretty crazy. I think that's exciting. The one area where I think maybe North American sports could institute something close to this would be with, the NBA lottery. Right now, it's just, they don't want you to tank because instead of it straight up being the worst team gets the first pick, they have the ping pong balls and this whole algorithm and stuff. What about a losers tournament? You take those bottom 8 teams that are out of the playoffs, or those bottom 16, you seed them into a bracket, and you just play elimination games, and the winner of that gets the number 1 pick. The runner-up gets the number 2 pick, and you have to play to get those picks. Because the idea that, hey, the worst teams get the best players and that makes them better, I don't think that's really been... I haven't seen that bear out, in the course of history, unless you're lucky to get a LeBron James or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't even know what Zion. I mean, is Zion... But, like, New Orleans wasn't the worst team. They just got the first pick. You know what I mean?
True, yeah. Like, but see, there's going against your argument. The worst team didn't get the first pick, so why would we change it?
But that's only because of a trade.
Well, yeah, but
but what I'm saying is like unless you're getting one of those transformative guys, we don't need to take any argument right now if Zion is going to be transformative in the long run. How often do those teams? It's incumbent upon those teams to be managed right and coached well and everything else too. I mean that's just blanket across sports. You can put the greatest player of a generation on a bad team if he's got poor coaching and poor things around him. It's probably not going to go well.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can. There's ways to do it. I just don't see it really making its way over here unless a tournament like that. Then you're talking like, oh, the players want to negotiate games in the regular season down and things like that. So it gets into a whole kind of.
It'd be, but I mean, it would be. You could do it in a weekend. You start on Thursday. You play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Boom, done. Because there's always that gap. The regular season ends. The playoffs begin the following week. Just whatever that gap is, boom, losers tournament happens, boom, done.
Yeah.
Get it over with. And those guys would get some extra money. I mean, they already get extra money. It's built into their contracts what you'll get for the postseason. Postseason play is already negotiated.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
If there's one league that could do it, I think it's the NBA, because
I think that's the only
Adam
league.
Silver they're pretty open to new ideas. They've already talked about wanting to have like an in-season tournament the way, English soccer does, which I don't think would work. You'd have to have one or the other. You can't try and apply that mindset to North American sports as it is without fundamentally changing the whole system. You either have to say we're gonna do a half measure where it's like we have a tournament for our losers to get the first pick, and that's where we get excitement from the bad teams, because you don't necessarily want to finish dead last. You're almost incentivized, say, to get to the 9th spot. If you want to like win but not win too much, maybe you don't want to be the 8th seed. There's like so little value in being the 8th seed because you're in the playoffs, but you're not going to have a chance at a lottery pick. I don't know. I think they're the team that can, the league that could best have a shot at it.
Agreed. Yeah, that's the only. I don't see any other league being able to make a move like that.
Next big ticket item, the NFL and their new CBA negotiations. If you haven't already heard, the NFL wants to have a 17-game regular season. They want to open up the playoffs and let more teams in, and change it around so that there's only one team that has a bye. Just the number one seed is the only team with a bye. Christian, do you like these proposed changes? Is a 17-game schedule we love football, but is it too much football?
Yeah, I just don't. In my opinion, I just don't think it's necessary. Really, I'm okay with how it is right now. Now, the one team with the bye I like, but I don't think adding an extra game needs to be done. So I think you could do one, not the other. But the 17 games unnecessary to me. But the bye for the one team on top, gotta say it's kind of a good idea. That that creates a little more competition and makes it a little more serious, more towards the top, and a lot of those teams can vie for that top spot. So KC, New England, Ravens, all were there. Like something like that. So I like the idea of the one team bye. The 17 games I could do without. I don't need another game. I'm good with where 16 game season. That's it. We know. Cut and dry, but they want another game, and then that would extend things a little bit more into February. But I think it's unnecessary, that part of it.
Well, and plus you want to have that 17th game. Who are you playing, and where are you playing that game? Because you either give one team each season an extra home game, or you force a team to be on the road for nine games.
Neutral site.
So the idea is a neutral site game, which again, that creates more chaos, I think. And who do you play? I love the NFL schedule right now. It's perfect. You have 4 team divisions. You have 4 of those divisions, and there's 4 in each conference. And I can tell you right now who the Patriots' opponents will be, with the exclusion of 3 teams in the 2045 season, because it's just on a rotation. You play your division. You play your division twice, so that's 6 games. You play another division in your conference. That's 4 games. You'll play another division outside of your conference. That's another 4 games. And then you'll play the teams in your conference who finished where you finished last year. So the Patriots, the reason they're always playing the best teams every year, outside of when they play, say, a crap division in their own division, they're playing the other division winners from the previous year. Whereas the Dolphins say, if you finish in last place, the next year you play all the last place teams from those remaining conference divisions. And it's a really, really good, even, symmetric system. It's easy to plan. It's not impossible, but it's going to take a whole lot more finagling. Like, okay, do we do 2 teams do we do another team from a second out-of-conference division, who finished where you finished last year? And then so we rotate that. Okay, but where's that game? What neutral site works? And wait, but this team's coming off. We can't send somebody to a neutral site in like Atlanta after they just came back from England. That's not, could fair. Like it's just going to create more headaches. Why does I mean, I know it's money. I know it's all about the money. But why does the NFL want to create more problems for itself? And I'm not confident. I mean, I know the players usually always cave because the young guys are going to want this deal because they're going to get more money in the short term. All the veteran players I've seen have very, very, very strongly spoken out against this deal. So I'm curious. I don't think it's going to happen because I think if you have since all the veteran players are against it, I mean, they're the ones with the voices. I mean, I know there are some younger players who are reps who can, you talk to your constituents and you have to just kind of vote with what your constituents want. But
you gotta look at the guy at the top though, DeMaurice Smith. I think it goes through just
puppet.
I mean, I think it goes through just because it always does. A lot of times, 9 times out of 10, I feel like stuff like this, the players say no, this guy says yes, it eventually will go through. So I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I don't think it's great, but you know what? Give me like 4 years into the thing and maybe I'll have a different take on it. But right now, I just think it's unnecessary, but I do think it's going to happen. So, we'll see what happens, but another game coming soon.
Yeah, I'm not for it. Not for it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But the NFL, I think they just like to keep. I think they want to break things so that they can fix them. It's not broken.
Yeah.
So let's break it and then see if we can fix it. And let's just keep piling on. Talk about, we spent this whole, basically since we started this podcast, we've had the whole Red Sox scandal, hanging over the Red Sox and the Astros and all the cheating stuff hanging over baseball. And we're still waiting for the Red Sox report to come out, which that's just like, come on now. What have you found? The NFL has yet to release their report on what did not happen with the Patriots film crew at a Bengals-Browns game.
Well, they're doing their due diligence, aren't they?
They're just trying.
Christ.
They're very transparent with how hard they're trying to prove that they can nail Bill Belichick and the Patriots to the wall. Really, what are you double, triple, quadruple checking at this point? It's so ridiculous. And people have forgotten about that. Meanwhile, they'll spend all their time on that. They're not investigating the Saints and their whole conspiracy where they were basically helping the church cover up sexual assaults. Are you kidding me?
If it was the New England Saints, they would.
Oh, that's... Yeah, we don't have to spell it out. Everybody knows the NFL is just dumb, and they seem to have no PR sense, and they just don't know. They have no morals. There's no morality in the NFL offices. For the most part, it seems. They just can never, ever, ever get these things right. As far as the Patriots are concerned from this CBA, if you have a 17th game and there is a little bit of extra money in the coffers, how much does this help them retaining Tom Brady? And let's kind of go over the Tom Brady, the Brady Watch update. Have kind of entrenched myself in that, I'm just going to wait and see. Honestly, there's so much smoke from everywhere. I guess now we're hearing that the Colts and the Giants are out. They're out on Tom Brady.
But you know who's in?
The 49ers.
This is awesome. I love this. So I'll give you a quick hit. Imagine this, right? I think, so the Niners come here this year to Foxborough to play. So Brady's going to go out there. Bill's going to trade a third rounder and get Jimmy G back, and then Brady's going to come back and play Jimmy G and Bill. Awesome. I love it. I'm praying that this happens because I think, I've convinced myself that I want Brady to leave just because I just think it's done. I think the run has to end at some point.
It does.
I think
it's completely fine. We've been embarrassed with riches. It's okay.
But man, if Jimmy G comes back here and those two teams are playing next year, that is a good one. I like that.
It sounds nice. I don't see how it can happen because they don't have the cap space to sign Tom Brady. So they'd have to. I don't know how the NFL would work. Can you be over your cap for a day while you
the cap is crap.
I know.
We all know that.
But can you make that move with the understanding that, hey, we're going to trade all these players or we're going to trade Garoppolo so that it does work? Or do you have to be cap compliant for every single second of eternity? You know what I mean?
In the NFL, it's
you couldn't sign Brady to a 2-year, $60 million deal and then turn around and trade Jimmy Garoppolo. You kind of have to do them at the exact same moment. Yeah. Or you have to do one first and then the I don't know how.
I'm not worried about the how because the NFL cap can be finagled in so many ways that it gives me a popsicle headache. So or a 7-Eleven Slurpee brain freeze. I don't want that. I'm thinking this is what I want now. I'm convinced. I've convinced myself this is the route that I'm taking, and I'm gonna stand on this hill until someone kills the rumor.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's all good. I mean, I personally, I think I wouldn't be shocked if Brady's gone, but I also wouldn't be totally shocked if he's just playing the game. He's not going to say I'm coming back because the Patriots haven't openly been like, Tom, please come back, and he can be like, okay, yes, I want you, the way the Saints did with Drew Brees. You know, Tom knows he's going to kind of play the game here with Bill, and Brady will probably hit free agency. He'll go out, he'll talk to teams, he'll give Bill a call, and then they'll talk about it then. I think, and if it doesn't work out, I'm totally ready for the next chapter to begin. I think either one are very compelling stories. What will Bill Belichick do without Tom Brady? Very compelling story. And if Brady comes back, can they do this again? Like, people said the dynasty was dead in 2014, and then they won 3 more Super Bowls. People are saying it's dead again. Can they somehow just rally again for a third time and win, even if it's just one more Super Bowl together? You know, that would be which would be the bigger story? Brady comes back and say the Patriots win another Super Bowl in his last 2 seasons, or Brady leaves and let's not worry about what he does, but let's just focus on the Patriots. Belichick wins another Super Bowl with quarterback X. Which is the bigger story?
Belichick wins with quarterback X. Here's what I think. I think, if they come together again, I don't think anybody will be surprised if they go on another run. Like, at the end of the day, these two have been together for 20 years. Everybody wants it to die, but if it happened again, I don't think that would be that shocking, right? They've been at it for so long. Tom can still play. I know I hear people saying that he can't play anymore. He definitely can still play. He's the top 10 guy in the league still. But if those two split up and you have Brady versus Belichick and one of them wins a Super Bowl on either side with quarterback X, or Brady wins it with coach X, that heightens their legacy, and I think that's the more fun story.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why if Brady leaves, I'll be interested to see what he does elsewhere, whatever team. I'm going to watch. But I'm really curious. Like, I know most people don't feel this way, and we maybe lost another Super Bowl because of it. But I enjoyed the year Matt Castle was quarterback. Like, the Patriots were like true underdogs, and you didn't know how the season was going to go. And yeah, Matt Castle took a 16-0 team and went 11-5. But there was a different dynamic to it. It felt, right now, if the Patriots only beat the Bills by 7 points, you're like, oh boy. Or you have a shootout with the Jets, you're like, yikes. That year was like you kind of appreciate what it was like to be some of these other teams where like winning the division is not guaranteed. And so all of a sudden, each game kind of has a little added sense of importance and excitement. And then, hey, they're playing the Colts tonight. And normally if it was Brady Manning, you'd be like, oh, yeah, we're playing the Colts. It's going to be a big game. But now it's like, hey, can Matt Castle beat Peyton Manning too? Like, this is going to be unreal. Like, if we win this game, if we win this game. It's like when you had the and it's good for a short period of time. Obviously, you want your team to then build and get better. It's like when you had the Celtics, the little engine that could, like the 2015, 16, 17 Celtics with Isaiah Thomas. Like, they never really went deep in they made the conference finals once and then got knocked, the bleep out by the Cavs.
Every year, yeah. But still a good story.
But during the regular season, they win at the buzzer against the Cavs, and you're like, see? Or they were the only team in that stretch. The Celtics still, up until this year, were the only team that had like a winning record in Oracle Arena versus the Warriors during their period of dominance. Like, of all the teams, Isaiah Thomas and the Celtics went in and just the Warriors didn't have an answer for them.
Isaiah was awesome.
Like, that's unreal. Like, that's crazy. Like, those games you just get so up for. Like, oh, see, our team is a contender. We can do that. There's just that added. It truly is at that point you against the world, because the whole world's like, you don't have anybody who can win.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that next chapter. And hey, ticket prices will come down. We could actually go to some games again if Tom Brady's not the quarterback.
Season tickets, here we come. If they suck, hell yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get rid of some of the pink hats.
Yeah. Yeah, bye. Yeah. We won a Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't even think you know what the quarterback is.
No, they know the quarterback. and I think
that's the jersey they have on.
And I think they know a wide receiver. But or the wide receiver at least knows them.
I'm going to go that route.
But yeah, they don't know who Joe Tooney is. No shot. Joe Tooney could walk into any Dunkin' Donuts and nobody's going to recognize him.
No, hell no. I would.
Well, yeah, me and you would.
Hardcore Pats fans.
But most people would not recognize a left guard. Aside from being like, wow, that's a big dude.
Yeah, wow. He's massive.
They are. It's incredible. Like NFL players, like the first time I was ever on an NFL sideline, it's like these guys, it's like NBA players are tall, right? And that's a spectacle to see in person. Like, wow, like how, like seeing Kevin Garnett in person, you're like, oh my, this guy is
Taco Fall.
So big. He's so tall. Well, Taco Fall's an exception because a lot of times they're tall. Like NBA players are tall, but they're thin. They're lean. Guys like Shaq or Taco, like it's like somebody just clicked in the corner on Photoshop and just proportionally enlarged them.
100%.
They're proportionally enlarged human beings. That's the same with football players. These guys are so big. Like Vince Wilfork.
Dude, the best was him running.
That guy is a brick wall.
Yeah. Him having an interception, sprinting, which I mean, it looks like he's on a treadmill, but it's still awesome.
It's stuck in molasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching him already running slow and then in slow motion is just poetry.
He's an athletic big guy, though.
But that's the thing, though. You see these guys. I mean, it's no wonder guys blow out. You know, how do you blow out your pec or your bicep? Like these guys are so jacked. They lift so much. They have to be so strong, and then the amount of stress. Your ligament, you can't strengthen your ligaments. Like those are the same on everybody. My ACL is the same ACL that's on top of, name any just jacked defensive end. Some guy who's 6'5", 290.
Julio Jones.
Me and Julio Jones have the same ACL.
That's crazy.
And he is a freak of nature. But, yeah.
He's a specimen.
Just absolutely large. Very large human beings. Tangent over. Anyway, moving on. The next and the last biggest thing we're going to get to before we get to your questions. So the big news for the show, the 360 Sports Show tomorrow night will be live in Kingston, Rhode Island. We're going to be in attendance for one of the biggest college hoops games. I'm going to say nationally, I think, because there's just a lot of attention on it. The Dayton Flyers have now moved up to number 3 in the nation. And the University of Rhode Island, at one point, they had won 10 in a row. They were making all sorts of headlines. And then since then, they have gone 2-2. They had a bad loss to Dayton in Dayton's building. And then, they eked out 2 wins, and then they lost to Davidson, and then this past weekend to St. Louis. So they are on the bubble.
They beat Fordham by 1 point. Ugh.
They're on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. But a team the URI team is still very exciting. They can be dangerous if they get in, but they're going to need to beat Dayton tomorrow night, I think, to have any hope, unless they want to win the A10, which they'd have to beat Dayton anyways to get there. So tomorrow is just a huge measuring stick and a huge, everything can be forgiven for URI if they win tomorrow night. And since it's right around the corner from us, me and Christian are going to be there. If you want to send us questions, and we're going to put this out through Instagram and Twitter and everything, if you want to send us questions about the game before or after, we will address those. We're going to do a quick little 30-minute hit after the game and give you a little instant reaction to the URI Dayton game. But Rhode Island hoops as a whole has been a big story. When we started talking about this a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about URI. They had won 10 in a row. They were on the rise. PC, Providence College, they were kind of on the decline. Since then, the teams have gone in opposite directions. We already told you what happened with URI. They've gone 2-2. They started 7. Hopefully tomorrow, URI does not get down 17-0 to start the game to Dayton.
I'm leaving.
That would be bad. PC, meanwhile, they've won 4 in a row, 6 of their last 8. 3 of those games they've won over ranked opponents. They beat number 10 Seton Hall, 19 Marquette, number 12 Villanova just recently. That's their 5th win. They've got 5 wins now over ranked opponents, and they've just been on an absolute tear. Ed Cooley, they called a week ago, he called them the bubble bath team. He said, we got so many bubbles around us right now. You might as well call us the bubble bath team. They're just focused on winning, just keep winning, win the next game. And that's a great mentality to have for both of these teams because it cures everything. And we talked about PC having some struggles. What concerned us was their shooting, which has still been kind of, I think it's going to be their Achilles heel, is that their offense
100%.
is not elite.
But when they're going, they're going. They got a lot. They got a deep bench. They got a deep roster, honestly. I mean, a lot of balanced scoring from those guys.
Very balanced. But during this winning stretch for PC, the seniors have all stepped up. It kind of happens. You see it down the stretch. It's like, okay, wait a minute. This could be our last hurrah. And so the seniors have been stepping up. Luane Pimpkins has been an absolute beast.
Monster. Yep.
He's averaging 20 points and 50% from the field during this stretch. And they're playing rock solid defense. So if you can maintain it really, for Providence, they have to win gritty games. They can't win shootouts. But if they can play the defense they've been playing and these guys stay focused, they're going to make the tournament. I mean, this run they've gone on here is impressive. And I think whatever they do in the Big East tournament, they're probably in. I'd say you still want to win your last game. You don't want to have a letdown here tomorrow night for them. I know they're closing out their season, their regular season tomorrow night as well. You don't want to drop that game and just have that sour taste in your mouth. But Christian, your thoughts on what PC's on here after we both called them out.
Yeah. So I mean, let's just start with we did this. I think we should be credited for this run. No, but PC has played well, and I mean, like you said, it's defensively, right? It's defensively and balanced scoring, what they need to do to win. And especially when you get near, I mean, the regular season, there's some ticky-tack stuff, but these tournaments, things tighten up a little bit, and defensive mentality kind of wins out almost, which is kind of good to see. And for a team like PC that prides himself on that side, as well as, things like turnovers and the balanced scoring from their bench. And obviously, their big guy, Pimpkins, he's been excellent. But they got to win on that side of the ball because, like you said, they're not going to win 120. This isn't the Houston Rockets.
They don't have the three-point shooting either to be able to dig themselves out of holes.
So, I mean, it's the tale of two sides here is PC going on this run and URI not, and almost losing to Fordham, and then St. Louis, not a great showing, but, they still got a shot. So, hopefully they can put up at least some type of fight tomorrow and maybe squeak out a win. I mean, home court, hopefully fill the Ryan Center, people.
Well, and we talked about PC seniors stepping up and leading the charge. If you're a URI senior, this is your last game in the Ryan Center. That's going to be it. And it's against a ranked opponent, basically to save your season. Obviously you'll still have a chance in the A10, and they have a good chance in the A10, but you want to...
Well, it's a huge game for
you want to gain some confidence and some insurance towards making the NCAA tournament, which is every team's ultimate goal, is to get to the big dance and then go on a run. They need to win tomorrow. And I don't think it can... You can't just play good enough to win. URI needs to win tomorrow. If aside from winning the A10, they need to win tomorrow to have even a remote shot at making the NCAA tournament.
If they get blown out tomorrow, I'll be very surprised. I think it's going to be a pretty competitive, good game. That being said, if they do get blown out, not great. Not a great end to the season. So, I mean, it's kind of a must win. So at at the very least, make it competitive. Just show up, play hard. This is like you said, this is the last game for some of these guys, right? So you want your last game to get blown out? I don't think so. So I think they'll have some fight tomorrow, and should be a good game actually.
Yeah. So me and Christian are both very excited to be going over to the Ryan Center, the first credentialed game for the 360 Sports Show. If you want to hit us up on Instagram and Twitter, we're going to be doing all sorts of stuff on social media during that game. So we'll be live tweeting from the game, putting up stuff throughout the game, trying to get you some post-game, some exclusive post-game material from the 360 Sports Show on the URI Dayton game. We will be in the house. So remember to follow us at 360 Sports Show on Instagram and Twitter and on Facebook. You can email the show if you want to send us questions, the360sportsshow@gmail.com. And remember to give us a like and a follow. We're available. The podcast can be found on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever podcasts are found. You can find us. And if you can't find us, shoot us a message and we'll help you out. So we're going to close out the show now with your questions. And we had a couple from last week that we wanted to just circle back to because they were really good questions. We want to make sure, we appreciate everybody who sends us questions because some of our best content has come from these. You guys can really drive the conversation anywhere you want it with your questions. We'll talk about anything and everything related to sports. So first question comes from Peter, and he says, Saturday, February 22nd was the 40th anniversary of the U.S. men's hockey team beating the Russians at Lake Placid. The great charm of that victory was that it was produced by a collection of young amateurs who bested the vaunted Soviet professional machine. The U.S. as well now sends professional athletes to the Olympics, so that David versus Goliath experience can never be reproduced except with the U.S. as the Goliath, i.e. basketball. Is that a good thing for the Olympics, for the U.S., for sports? Must the Olympics be just one more professional sports event? Peter. Thank you for the email, Peter. I think another great thing about the Miracle on Ice game was that it was on tape delay. So unless you were there live or listening to the radio, say you and we'll get into this quick story, but I was just speaking to somebody who was in the 9th grade at the time, and they said they didn't want to know anything. They drove home. They kept the radio off on their way home from school, and when they got home, they waited till later that night to watch the game on tape delay. How easy that is. Nowadays, you'd have to turn off your phone. You'd have to turn off the radio. You'd have to bury your phone in the backyard. You'd have to talk to nobody because every single other person in the globe will have already known what's happened in a game. It's impossible. So I think that's another crazy side of the Miracle game is people knew before everybody else knew what had happened. I don't think you can go back now. I think professionals are in, and it's just people want to see the best play against the best. And if, America has too much pride, I think they don't want to see if other teams are sending their professional hockey players and professional basketball players, they don't want to see college guys. Now, it would be great. It would be great to go see, the best players from Duke and UNC and Gonzaga and all these guys team up, and can they still go and hang and beat, talk about that would be a sticking point. Like, listen, you can't even beat our college players. But so many NBA players now, a lot of these guys are from overseas. So, they're going to be there. So you already have NBA talent playing in, say, the Olympics, and NHL talent playing in the Olympics. You want to win, so you're going to send your best guys, And it's not like there's the North American Swimming League, that's we should only send college swimmers. No, I mean, we send the best of the best for everything. And I think now that we've opened that up and it's more than just amateurs for some of these other sports, you're not going to go back. Is that good? I don't know. I think it is fun to see a bunch of young guys kind of band together and overcome, some great obstacle. But hey, now the U.S. is that obstacle for these other countries, I guess. Yeah,
and I think, some of the, I know we mentioned before, Carmelo Anthony is someone who is I'd rather win a gold medal than an NBA championship or something.
Representing their country means so much. Same with Kobe Bryant.
You don't want to take that away from guys, so to speak, right? So, and also the competition's still high. A lot of these places are getting better, at least, I'll just go right from a basketball standpoint in the Olympics, but the U.S., all these guys coming from overseas now, and there's some talented teams over there. So I don't think you go back on it. I think the high-level talent is what makes it fun. And I think, it could be fun the other way too, but I just want to see these guys play, right? I want to see, if I'm a United States, if I'm rooting for the United States, my country, I want to see, LeBron James and all these guys play. One
of the greatest international moments we had was Vince Carter putting his whole arm through the hoop, basically, on a dunk in the Olympics.
And you just want to see the highest level competition. That's what it's all about. And I don't know. We win too much. I don't think you can go back on that.
But honestly, outside of basketball, the U.S. does. It's usually the U.S., Russia, China, England. And then there's some countries that just have their niches though. The U.S. is not a powerhouse in rugby. You want to know who the rugby powerhouse is? Fiji, of all places.
Also, look at hockey too. Canada the powerhouse for them.
Yeah. And so, in a lot of these other sports, like America is still an underdog. Like we have some of the greatest athletes in the world, but we don't just utterly dominate everything.
Well, some of the most exciting Olympics is getting up at like 5:30 in the morning to watch Olympic hockey. Oh, that's just the best. And also,
or staying up till 3:00 in the morning,
or that,
like with the women's ice hockey gold medal game, USA Canada,
phenomenal.
A couple years ago. Oh my God, that was edge of use. I mean, overtime, and then they went to a shootout. That was controversial. Do you have a shootout to decide a gold medal? But that was some of those girls had sick moves. I mean, it's still fantastic.
And even if you're an underdog, you still have high level talent, and also it's so fun. Watching like U.S. versus Canada hockey is just awesome. So I don't know. I like it how it is.
Yeah. One note on Lake Placid. Somebody had asked us a question, which we can maybe address at the end. And maybe I'll save the story for the end. Somebody had asked us, how we met, how we started the show. So we'll get into that. Actually, I'll save the story for when we explain who. We'll really tell you who we are. I know you think you know who we are, but we'll tell you who we really are.
You don't.
So moving on from the Olympic question, this questions come from Jake. Jake, a loyal listener and contributor to the show. He's got some in-depth ones here, and so normally if you were to send us a dissertation, I think we might go like, oh my God. But Jake is such a loyal listener. He's a constant contributor, and some of this we've already touched on, so we can move pretty quickly through. So I'm going to go question by question here. There's 4 of them, and he starts off. Here we go. Already ramping up for it. Number 1, Rob Manfred is a piece of ruining baseball. To say that he could have stripped the title from the Astros, but it's, quote, just a piece of metal, ruins the integrity of the game. The Astros cheated to win a World Series, have minimal repercussions in my mind, and all players were granted immunity? ? So here's my perspective. You're going to see the most hit-by-pitch players for any team of all time this season with the Astros. We agree with that.
And you are.
You've already seen it in preseason. You have now set, spring training, you have now set the entire team up to gain injuries throughout the season because the overwhelming consensus of baseball players is that championships were robbed from other teams and in some cases careers ruined due to the cheating and nothing serious was done about it. I want to start a counter for how many Astros get hit intentionally this year. So that's question number 1. I think it's already up to like 9 guys have been hit here in spring training. And I asked an expert this question in baseball rules. There's no repercussions to drilling a guy at first base. So if you want to turn around, you run the risk of airmailing the ball and it's an error and a guy advancing. But if you want to like really get a guy and you don't want to like give him the base, you don't want to just peg a guy at the plate, you could just go to pick a guy off if he's already standing at the plate and just drill him right in the numbers.
Just and
no repercussions.
It's just you plan it out so that they're stealing and then you get them into a pickle and just bean the guy.
Not even. I mean, you just know that the guy's standing there on first. He's not even taking a lead. You just turn around. The guy's
whoops,
like,
ball slipped.
The guy's like, I'm standing on the bag. Why is he check? Oh, and just right in the kisser.
I don't know if you'll see much of that, but those guys are. I mean,
the players are pissed.
If spring training is any indication,
the players are turning on each other, which is what MLB didn't want. Manfred has turned into Roger Goodell on this one because they've lost control of this.
Well, Manfred sucks.
They wanted to keep it. It started out good, quick, decisive punishment for the Astros. Boom. And we were waiting for a quick, decisive punishment on the Red Sox. It's not come. And now this whole thing is just oozing out, and it's getting worse and worse and worse and building and building and building. And it either goes 2 ways. You just ignore it and let these guys beat up on the Astros this year because they're just going to – it's a shame tour for them. Or you have to just shine the whole light on everybody and expose everybody, which would kill baseball.
They're not going to do that. Yeah. Well, baseball's already dying, but Manfred sucks. I'll start with that. But if spring training is any indication, these guys are going to get pummeled this year. Oh my God. Springer's gotten dinged a few times. Altuve. I think many of the people would probably go after Altuve. Seems like the fall guy kind of. And, hit
him right in the buzzer.
The worst part about the whole thing is that you can't, I say in quotes, you can't punish the players because, you can't punish a whole team. You're not going to do that. But some of these guys, in my opinion, I think should have gotten something. Like Altuve is one to me that's like, every other picture I see you on the beach with your shirt off, dude. Why are you not taking your shirt off?
You could have gotten more answers without immediately granting the players immunity. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could have tried to get answers before just being like, hey, we'll give you all immunity if you tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Like,
not so fast.
What? The other thing I think this year is the Astros. You know how they have like, have you ever been to like the beach or a park on like a really, really hot day and they set up those little like misting stations you can walk into?
Yeah.
That's what Astros players are going to have to walk through now to go to the on-deck circle. We're just going to like make sure we zap out any little devices that may be hanging maybe under the jersey.
I just think they're going to line up like Happy Gilmore and get in the cage and just prepare for hockey season, just getting pummeled by balls at 90 miles an hour. Yeah.
Go ahead. Guys just stand square up like in the batter's box.
Oh, that hurt a little, but I'm all right.
Give it to me. Next question from Jake. Moving on. Aaron got robbed. He's talking about Aaron Gordon. I honestly don't see how on any planet he doesn't win the dunk contest. I think it is bull. Beep. And the saddest part is now he's gone. He has publicly stated he will never do the dunk contest again, and rightfully so. Ja Morant has also said on Twitter that he won't do it in the future, which absolutely kills the event because he's the future. They have turned this event into a referee, quote, who do I want to win event, and it is truly sad to see. My suggestion, boost everything by making an all-star app that everybody can download and go do instant voting in real time, just like how they vote for the all-stars. That way you get the fans involved and give them the power to vote for the best dunk and not their former teammate, cough, cough, D-Wade, cough, cough.
Hell,
100% agree.
Hell, give the people in the building like a little, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing, like from the crowd, and just give them a little buzzer. You just hit option A,
We're
B,
now
C, or
going
D.
to ask the audience.
Yeah, like I think it's a shame that they did this again to Gordon because he's gotten robbed twice now, and now he doesn't want to compete when he's created so many new dunks that nobody's ever seen, and like
he was the best thing to happen to the dunk contest in like 20 years.
And yeah, now it's kind of ruined. I don't know. It's just kind of weak how it ended. I mean, he had 4 50s in a row or something like that to start, and he was like, "Shouldn't it be over?" I was like, "Kind of should." I mean, you get 200 out of 200. That's pretty good. And nobody else was close, and then he just gets robbed in the end. Kind of sucks. He's gonna go try for the 3-point contest, but now like it just kind of ruins the dunk contest.
Well, because like Jake said, Ja Morant doesn't want to do it. Because a lot of these big-name stars don't want to do it because of the impact it has on their bodies. Guys talk about, how tough it is. I mean, to be trying to dunk and vault yourself like that, it's stressful on your legs. So when you have guys who have become stars that are willing, like they are up for it and want to do it, their names now, and you're turning them away, you're turning them off to doing it because, yeah, he got robbed. He got robbed against Levine, and he got robbed here. Like it's blatant. It's obvious, So I think it's bad. And hopefully somebody comes along who can up the ante and bring the sort of creativity and ingenuity we saw with his dunks. So I thought, like most people for a while, it's like we've seen everything. Every year maybe there's one dunk each year. There's something different. Each year he was bringing like 4 new dunks.
Well, there was years there where it was kind of like, okay, dunk contest, yay, and people are snoozing, like it's nothing great. And then this guy comes along the first time around, and he's jumping out of the gym doing stuff, and then he gets robbed. And then he comes back again, and he gets robbed again. Oh, that just not only does it ruin it for him, it ruins it for the guys that are looking on. Like, I'm not going to do this then. Risk injury for a fun event. And then not
I don't
win
get rewarded.
because, I don't get rewarded. So it just kind of puts a damper on the whole thing.
Yeah. Like he could have taken off from half court, done like 8 flips in the air.
47.
Yeah. D-Wade would have given him a 47. Next thing from Jake. New format was amazing. I didn't think it would be that good, but it was incredible to see guys play defense in the fourth quarter. My only fear is injuries coming from it, but screw it. That was incredible. Took a leap of faith there with the new format, and it paid off tenfold. Talking about the new All-Star format, which I think was fantastic. We didn't talk about this earlier in the show, but really briefly, the new All-Star game format, awesome. They keep track of the score for each quarter. They have a running score. The winner of each quarter, money goes to charity. and then in the fourth quarter you have a set number that you're trying to reach, just like the way you play ball out on the streets. There's no time limit. There is a shot clock, but you're just trying to reach a point total in the fourth quarter. Guys were D'ing up. Teams were taking time out to talk strategy, and there were legitimate fouls, legitimate defense being played. It was awesome. It was fantastic. Love it.
I do agree, though. The injury thing is kind of worrisome just because, although it's just.
But that's on the players.
Game,
It's on them wanting to give the. It's not like 100%. The NBA made them play harder. They could have.
Yeah, well, they're changing the format to make them play harder. That's
sure, but they could have just. Teams could have just jogged up and down the court and taken a bunch of threes and not play defense if they wanted. The players are the ones who played hard.
Yeah, I mean, I still worry.
It still could have looked like bad pickup ball, but it didn't. It looked like actual NBA competition.
It was good. I just worry about if I'm a team vying for a champion, do I want Kawhi Leonard getting hurt in the All-Star game? No, but I mean, it's partly on him. But also, I mean, the format is awesome, so hopefully they keep it going forward. That's kind of what I'll say. It's just, and the fourth quarter was definitely the best for that final score. But adding charity, adding the Kobe Bryant award, that stuff's kind of cool. And just the format overall, I liked it.
Yeah. This just popped in my head when you said Kobe. Really quick, absolutely deplorable. I mean, we know it's always going to happen. Somebody in their sheriff's department leaked pictures of the helicopter crash.
Yeah.
How terrible of a person do you have to be?
Yeah. Kind of scummy, especially for the family. I don't know. Just not a great story. I don't even want to even give it any freaking credence just because it's how could you even do that? It's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, I only want to mention it to mention that person is an absolute pud.
Asset.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible person. Last question from Jake. As a Giants fan, could you not tell by his earlier question about his anger towards the Astros that Jake is a Yankees fan? So a part of me is just not going to shed too many tears, even though I completely understand where he's coming from. He's 100% in the right.
What about Carlos Beltran, though? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, every team has got a mountain of skeletons in their closet regarding this in baseball. But as a Giants fan, I'm not big into the draft, but I know you guys are much more knowledgeable when it comes to prospects and potential picks. In a mock, who would be the best draft choice for the Giants, and then who should they pick up on the free agency market with $61 million in cap space? Too early to tell you, even though we just had the combine, too early to tell you exactly who to pick. I'm going to say in general, you already have your quarterback, you have a running back, build your offensive line, build your defense. That's the way I always want to build my team. Honestly, I think maybe they had the quarterback too early. You want to build from the trenches out, but it's fine. You have a quarterback in place. You have some young talent offensively. Continue to build and draft there, and you're not on the precipice yet. The team should not give any lucrative contracts to anybody. Just keep drafting and make some shrewd moves in free agency.
If you're big into the draft, stay tuned. I mean, we'll kind of get more into this as we go forward and get closer to the draft. But just, I mean, I 100% agree with you. O-line defense for the Giants, those are the two top spots that you have to build. You got the running back, you got the quarterback, and you have some decent wide receivers. So you definitely want O-line, and you definitely can always get better on defense. But we'll have more on that as we get closer to the draft.
Yeah, and I wanted to know, I could get into, for you right now, Jake, who do I think is the best offensive lineman or who's ranked? But in a couple of weeks, we are actually going to have an expert on the show for this. So another friend of the show, Brad Kelly. You can find him at Brad Kelly, BradKelly 17 on Twitter. He's an NFL draft and college football analyst for @Cover1 and Pro Football Magazine. He's somebody who I met working at Salvo Regina. He was a football player. He was a football coach, and now he's basically working as a scout. He devours film and tape, and he can tell you every little thing about a guy's, the bottom of the 7th round, he'll be able to tell you details about a guy's 3-cone drill and why he likes this guy versus another guy. And so he's going to be coming on the show sometime late March, early April to do a whole NFL draft, NFL free agent primer with us. So for Jake or anybody out there who has NFL free agency and draft, but specifically draft questions, send those our way now. We'll bank them. And when Brad comes on the show, we will. If you have any question about any prospect, some guy from some small college, hey, what do you think of this guy? Can he make it in the NFL? Or is this guy more of a slot receiver than an X receiver? You send that to us. Brad has got all the answers. He puts in a tremendous amount of time in research. He's one of the best follows on Twitter for this stuff. Because you go there and you can see he breaks down so many guys. He just broke down a whole bunch of URI football players who had some impressive performances at the NFL Combine. So, there might be some local talent going to the NFL, but Brad Kelly, he's the man. He's going to be on the show soon. Just adding to the pool of 360 Sports Show experts, the reach that we have. So any of your NFL-related questions, send them in to the 360 Sports Show at gmail.com, and we can get to them. So, and make sure you give Brad a follow now if you want to just get ahead of the game. Wanted to wrap up the show with the question that was posed to me. Hey Pez, how did you and Christian meet, and how did you start the show? So I'll tell really quick. My day and night job,
24-hour job,
is I'm the assistant sports information director at Salve Regina. So that means I'm all over the place. I do everything related to covering the sports that I'm in charge of: website, roster management, social media graphics, photography, video, graphics, game programs, yada 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 yada. Along with doing play-by-play broadcasting. I broadcast all the games that I work. I do play-by-play. Was going to mention before about Lake Placid. I was lucky enough, our Salve Regina men's ice hockey program made the Frozen Four up in Lake Placid a couple of years ago, and I went up there alongside my current color guy, Ryan Costa, and I was reading an Al Michaels biography. He was reading a Ken Dryden biography. We didn't tell each other we were reading these books. We found out not only, we're each reading books that are guys who called the Miracle Game in our respective roles, play-by-play and color, but then we wound up in the same booth that Dryden and Michaels were in to call the Miracle Game. We felt like everything was going Salve's way because Mike Aruzione's nephew, Danny Aruzione, is on Salve Regina's squad. We just felt like the stars were all aligning for Salve. Unfortunately, they lost in probably one of the more epic college hockey playoff games in recent history. In memory, a double overtime thriller against St. Norbert. But just an absolutely amazing experience. Quick note on Aruzione, he is only 5 points away from becoming Salve's all-time leading scorer. Their season came to a close last week, but pretty much almost in his junior season, he became the scoring player in program history. He's a phenomenal athlete. So looking forward to his senior season, and hopefully the Seahawks can get back to a national title game. They'll have one more crack at it. But so that's my job. I met Christian because Christian, you were a senior, just looking to get a little broadcasting experience, and you said, "Hey, I'll jump in the booth with this Pezzelli guy."
Yeah, I like sports. I want to get involved somehow, and really, I mean, internships is a must for many colleges, but so I need to get an internship for like communications. So I was like, talking to my professor, she's like, maybe there's something over in this office. Hang on, let me get back to you. And I met with Ed, the director over there, sports information director over there. And then I met Andrew through the internship color guy. And that's kind of how we hit it off. And Andrew was too much of a homer. I didn't like that. So I figured he needed a negative guy, so I became that guy.
Yeah, Christian, if you haven't picked up on the show yet, like me and Christian text, the way we started the show is because we were just always talking constantly about New England sports. Do you recall? I remember this was like a weird moment. So Christian's a senior. I'm in my first year at Salve. I'm basically only like a year and a half older than you. So I basically still feel like I'm just like with another kid, like my age. I'm just like another friend.
Yeah.
And we were working a hockey game when the Patriots were playing the Ravens in the divisional round in 2014. And I remember we're looking at the live stats while we're calling a hockey game. And like, oh my God, we're down 10. Hey, we just took the lead. Okay, hey, we're up 7. Oh my God, the Ravens are driving. And the first period came to an end. We pulled up the live video and we watched the Patriots win that game. We're like, how did they win? But I remember we both like, we won the game, and we both like hugged each other. And there was a moment where like, well, that was weird.
Yeah,
I barely know this guy.
this is real.
But we're both so excited for the Patriots just winning this game. And then we're just always still in touch. And Chris, you worked at Salve for 3 years, almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So we're both in each other's backyard and just always talking sports. And I'm always positive about things, and Christian's always negative about things.
But I'm like, I would consider myself the reasonable one. You are just over the top positive. It's a killer.
I'm not over the top positive.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm just pragmatic. You like a game.
If I asked you, Gordon Hayward's getting his number retired with the Celtics right now.
No.
He's the best player of all time.
No, don't be ridiculous. But if we could have the argument if you want. If you have time, we could have the Gordon Hayward argument here that we had last
Different
time.
Different
day about what his contributions mean. I'm just pragmatic. A team gets down like 3 point. Like the team's down. A team goes out and makes their first three. If we're playing the Rap tonight for the Celtics,
now
against
you're
the
being
Nets,
ridiculous.
If Spencer Dinwiddie comes out and hits like 2 threes to start the game, Celtics down 6-0, you're like, well, gotta be a long night. This one's already over.
I just view the field, right? This is how
team's
it goes.
down 5 with like 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. You're like, oh, this one's done.
I have a prime example. Okay,
how many times have you ever turned off the game when you said you're turning it off?
Hang on,
Never.
Once. No, literally once, I think. But the Spurs were up like 26, and the Celtics were just playing like crap. I knew it was over, and here we go. It's a lot of time left.
It's the first quarter.
It was the second.
You have any idea?
Second
Even
quarter.
still, in the NBA today, the way guys shoot threes.
Yeah, but you watched how they were playing. You knew it was over.
Sure, but you can say like
too positive. Different day, but too positive.
Oh my God. See, now you got now this is good though. This is the back and forth. This is why me and Christian work so well.
This is how the show started.
This is literally how the show started. It's just us we couldn't have these arguments in our offices anymore. We were being too loud and we had to get kicked out.
I mean, let me preface it by saying, I'm negative by design, so that when my team, what I consider my team, wins, it's awesome. Master
of your own universe, Christian. You have to believe and just will into existence.
And also, exactly, and I go based on facts.
So I think you created the coronavirus with your mind.
You never know. We don't know where.
That's my hot take.
Yeah,
your negativity just brought forth the coronavirus. But
shouldn't if that was true, your positivity should overpower.
That's true, actually. See, that's what this is like the Matrix. Like we're the equation trying to balance itself.
I mean, look, if we got on here and both started spewing like, I love everything and everything is rainbows and unicorns. Yeah, would that be as fun? No. You need a negative guy.
No, you need hashtag negative guys are people too.
Negative, but a huge fan, right? So you can have both, negative and happy. That's what I would say.
Anyway, that will do it for this edition of the show. We will have a special tomorrow night. So as we've mentioned, the 360 Sports Show is going to be live.
The Rhody Rammers
at URI Dayton tomorrow night. Our first public appearance as the 360 Sports Show. So we'll be there taking the game in person. Come grab a sticker if you're there. We'll be on Instagram and Twitter throughout the night. Real quick, we did put out a poll related to, we talked about URI and Dayton and PC being, their odds of making the tournament. PC pretty much just has to not screw this up here down the stretch. Which Rhode Island teams will make the March Madness tournament? Just PC, just URI, or both? 33% said just PC. 22% said just URI. I think the only way that happens is if like PC gets embarrassed somehow tomorrow night against a bad opponent and URI like wins the A10.
I'm going the other way on that one.
And then 44%, the majority said that both will make it. And so we believe the only way that can happen is if URI beats Dayton tomorrow night. And if that happens, it's sure to be a great game. URI playing the third-ranked team in the nation. So we'll be there. You can email the show, the 360sportshow@gmail.com. Hit us up at 360 Sports Show on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to give us those likes and those subscribes, whether it's through Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, iTunes, wherever podcasts can be found. You can find us. And we love your contributions to the show. Thank you to Jake and Peter for sending in questions. Can't wait to get more questions coming our way. And can't wait to talk to you guys tomorrow night after the URI Dayton game. Go Rhodey.
See ya.